Hello and welcome back. So at the end of the last lesson I had finished making the outers for my boots. I'm going to pop those out of the way and I'm now going to grab all of my lining pieces here and I'm going to make up my lining. So we've made our outer and we're at this area here where it says lining, assemble lining and sew elastics using the same technique you use for the outer fabric. So we're going to go all the way back to step number 16 and we're going to kind of do the same again. So the first step is to attach the elastic to the front. Now there are going to be just a couple of little differences, so I'm just going to make one of the lining pieces to show you. Obviously you're going to do both the boots, the left and right boot, exactly the same. So elastic, I'm making a size 24 and that is a 16.8 centimetre piece of elastic for the front. So I just cut two of those ready for my front booties, 16.8. And then I've got my front bootie pieces there of lining. I'm looking at the wrong side, so there's the right side. I put two notches at the top and one at the bottom, and then I've got these notches at the side, so I know how my lining is placed. If you didn't transfer those notches, just get your paper pattern piece, lie it on top and kind of decide where you are. Just remembering as well that if you go to the right side of the fabric, your foot's going in like this in the direction of the pile, so you know this is the top edge and this is the bottom. There we are. So I'm just going to do one to show you, and obviously you're going to repeat exactly the same on both of them. So if you remember what we did before, we just sew the elastic to either side. So I'll just pin that to, or clip that to where the notches are. I'm going to sew that in place and then I'm going to stretch that elastic out across the width of the panel. So coming over to my machine, I will just first of all secure the elastic to the side seam within the seam allowance at either edge. Now I've switched over to a ballpoint needle. This is a knit, this fleece. It's got a slight bit of stretch to it, and I'm just switched over to plain white thread that will go better with this than the yellow I was sewing with for the outers, but you know, you can use the same thread, it'll be fine. Just a few stitches back and forth to secure that. The same on the other side. Whoop. And this fluffy fleecy fabric, it does have a tendency to fray. Just a little bit of patience required with this. There we go. Just stitches really to secure. Then what I'm going to do, let's get you into a good viewing position, hopefully you can see that okay. So then what I do is I place that under, lower the foot, and then I'm going to go, actually for the elastic, I'm going to go onto a zigzag stitch for the lining, it's just a bit better. So I'm going to do a 3x2 zigzag, and that will sew through the fleece lining, because my fleece lining does have a bit of stretch in it. You may have to just do a couple of stitches to begin with before you stretch out the elastic. And you might just have to put one of your hands to the back to encourage it through there, just to begin with. There we go. Now, once you've done that on once you've done the elastic on both of your lining front bits, take the front panel of your fleece lining and take one of the toe bands or the foot bands, and I'm just going to place that round the edge and clip it in place and then sew it on. I'm not going to do the stage where if you remember with the outer fabric, which was cotton, we sort of stitched along here and then snipped into it. I'm not going to do that because I think it's going to end up as a bit of a fluffy mess to start off with. That's the first reason why. But the other reason is that this just has a bit of stretch in it, so you'll find that it will work its way round okay, and you won't really need to do that kind of snipping into like you did with the woven fabrics that don't have any give in them. This does have a bit of give in it. So I'm just going to pin the toe band all the way around, and it's just you know, it's matching up nicely and it's fine with that. It doesn't need to be snipped into like the outer fabric. Saves a job. And also I do find that the more that you cut this fabric, the more difficult it becomes to work with, because it's quite frilly but nice and soft. Okay, so those are clipped in, that's clipped in place. Let's just show you how that looks, and just in case you didn't see. So there you go. So that's right sides together around that outside edge there, and we're going to just sew that on. One cm seam allowance. To begin with, you just have to encourage it under there a little bit. And you'll notice I didn't do a back stitch, just because again it can then get caught up. So this is all going to get sewn together and encased with different panels, so you don't have to worry too much. There we go, there's that. So that's your kind of inside of your front foot there with the band attached. So next up I'm going to attach my boot front to the front foot there. So I've got that mark there at the centre front, matches up there. Cannonball! Children are playing. Okay, and then I didn't do any of the stitching and snipping into again, because with the fleece it just end up as a bit more tricky to manage. So I'm just going to rely on the stretch that exists within the fabric to get myself around the curves there. A couple of wonder clips to hold them in place. Bit of cricket and a bit of Lego happening in the other room. Right, whoops. Try to treat this fabric very gently, and because it does mould. Once it's done, it's done. But yeah, it does fluff everywhere. You're going to need to get your vacuum cleaner out after you've made these, probably. Right, let's pop that under there. Make it so that you can see. Hope that's nice and clear for you. There we are, is that a bit better? Okay, and then I'm just going to go and sew those two bits together. Making sure that the raw edges are matching, and because it's quite fluffy, that's a bit more difficult to see, but just take your time. So there's the front of my bootie, sort of recognisable. Obviously it's a lot floppier compared with the outer, but hopefully recognisable in shape from what we've made before. And now what we can do is attach the back, but before we do that we'll put the elastic on the back panel as well. Right then, so we need elastic for the back, and again it's the same as what we did for the front. So size 24, 16.3 centimetres. I'll need 2 for each boot, so I'm going to need to cut 4 16.3 centimetre pieces of elastic. So we're going to take our back leg panels. These are bigger than the front leg panels, and they've got a slightly curved bit at the top there, straight at the bottom, and then you'll have notches here and here, and that's where we're going to put the elastic across, exactly the same as we did on the outer fabric. If you want, you can also, if it helps, using your chalk or using a fabric marker, you can draw a line on the wrong side there. So if you attach the elastic either side and then you're pulling it across, it kind of wants to sit there anyway. So again, I'm going to just make the one booty but follow the same procedure for both of the linings. So the elastic's in there on both the top and bottom channel. Now we can get our front piece back. Move you back a bit. And I'm just going to attach the front to the back. And I can see that this is the top and this is the bottom because of the direction of the pile. So just like before when we did the boot, we'll just match up the elastic channel there, put a wonder clip there, match up the bottom elastic channel with the area where the front of the boot meets the foot, and then that should come down and match up at the bottom there. So you can see there were a few stages. It's a lot quicker to do the lining because you didn't need to do the top stitching or anything like that around the booty. You didn't need to attach the little guide loops, and because it's quite a stretch fabric, we didn't have to do any of the snipping in and preparation that we had to do with the outer booty. So we're kind of very quickly up to that stage now, where if you've been doing these and you've done both your boots, oops. We're now kind of at the same stage with the lining as we are at with the outer fabric. A couple more clips can't help. Can't hurt, can't help, can't hurt, I mean to say. There we are. Right, so we're just going to sew along there and along there. There we go, and then we will have if I lay it out like that, you'll have your lining once you've done that. It's what I call a labour of fluff, not a labour of love, making these. And yeah, I'm going to walk out this room covered in it. Right, oops. Back onto the zigzag. Right, okie dokie. Oh, I'm playing bobbin chicken here. I think I'm going to need to wind up a new bobbin. Look at that. How, oh, yeah, I'm not going to get another seam out of that. Right, so time to wind up my bobbin and then do the other side seam. There's that side seam. So I do the other side seam, and that'll be my booty lining done. And then we can attach the soles and attach the linings to the outers. So there's your booty lining. It somehow looks quite pretty with these seams picked out in the fluffy, doesn't it? Anyway, that's going to all be hidden from view eventually. So the next thing to do is to attach the sole, and we're going to do this on the lining, and then we're going to do it on the outer fabric. So with the bootie inside out, so you're looking at the wrong side, you are going to open up the bottom and then place the sole so that it's right sides together, so the right sides are all on the inside, and so what you're looking at is the wrong side of the fabric, and the inside of the bootie has all got the fluffy on it. You've got some notches there to help you match everything up, and it's worth noting that on the bootie, I'll zoom you in a bit, on the bootie it is the same, the soles are symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about left and right and the inside and the outside of the foot. Everything on this pattern, unlike the slippers, is symmetrical. So this notch matches up with this seam. We'll just go round, walking round, matching up raw edges, walking round with our fingers and putting clips in at intervals. A little visitation from the little ones. I've told them that we're going to make meringues, and they're just wondering, when are we going to make them? Because we used egg yolks yesterday, we've got whites left over. So we're now going to make meringues, which they've never made before. He's very curious about this. Homeschool fun. Home economics. My favourite lesson. So there we are with the sole clipped all the way round. Doesn't really matter where you start, you're going to come round in one big circle. Oops. Have I got you in the right position to see? Maybe if I swivel my machine a bit. So all I'm really doing is going all the way around the edge of that sole. And sewing the sole to the top of the boot.